Welcome back. Today, once again, I'm going to try to solve some chess puzzles on chess.com. In my previous session, I got my puzzle rating above 2,000 for the first time in this puzzle run, and today I hope to go even higher than that. If you're new to my channel, I'm not a chess coach or a titled player like many other chess YouTubers. I'm just a random person who enjoys the game, and I'm trying to get better at it. Solving puzzles is one way to do that. This puzzle looks like it's fairly early in the game. We all have our minor pieces. We have each of us are missing a pawn, looks like. Okay, I noticed that I have one of their knights pinned and they have one of my knights pinned. I also noticed that they have just moved a knight to protect this one, and also to clear the way for castling. So I assume that they're about to castle. Let's see, anything else? Do I have any checks besides this? That I think is my only check. Okay, well, that's the only piece that I notice of theirs that I have pinned. I can put pressure on the pinned piece, which is something that you can sometimes do. If I move the pawn there, they can't move that knight. I suppose they could take mine, which aims at my queen, and then I guess I would have to take back. But I don't think they can do anything to save that knight. So that might be the answer to this puzzle. I am going to look around. Do I have any captures besides this knight? Or any threats besides putting pressure on the pinned piece? I suppose I could threaten their bishop over there on b6 by moving my c knight to a4, but then it would just move, I guess. So that's not really a thing. I could also go in here with this knight to d5, which would threaten their rear knight, and they could take, and then I would take back, and I would have a pawn on that knight. But if I want a pawn on that knight, I should just move my d pawn. I don't know how they're going to respond. I don't know. I'm going to play that. It might be wrong. Oh, that was right. Oh, they put pressure here. Okay. Well, if I take their knight now, they're going to take my bishop with their pawn. And then I suppose I could take another pawn, and then they would have to move their rook somewhere, but they would just move their rook to fairly easily attack the pawn that I just put down there, and I would only be up a pawn. Or I could slide this bishop back to a4, where it's continuing to pin that knight, and I'm still threatening it, here with this d pawn. If I take the knight with my bishop right now, then they're going to take back with the pawn, and we came out even on that deal. So I'm going to move the bishop back to a4. Hopefully that's not really bad. Oh, that was it. Okay, now I should win the knight for the pawn. That's the whole reason I moved it up there. I'm going to take it. Okay. I know it took me a while to talk through it, but I still feel like I got that one pretty quickly. Part of it was that just looking around the board, nothing else stood out to me. And part of it was due to Gotham Chess with that whole saying PP on the PP, which is put pressure on the pinned piece.
Black doesn't actually realize that they can just apply more pressure to the pinned piece. Chess has a saying which would get you thrown in jail anywhere else. It's put PP on the PP, put pressure on the pinned piece. So PP on the PP.
Ever since I first heard him say that, it has stuck with me. I don't always see it, but this time I did, so good. Next puzzle. Now, in this one, it seems like my opponent is up a significant amount of material because we each have a bishop and a knight, but my opponent has a queen for my rook, and I have an extra pawn. So they're up 3 points of material, and the queen, of course, as we know, is far more powerful than the rook. So it's probably not just taking a piece in this puzzle, it's probably a checkmate or something like that. I also noticed that my rook is under threat right now, so I probably need to move it if I don't have a checkmate or a check here. If I bring my rook over here and check, which is not my only check, but it's the first one that I saw, my opponent would only have one legal move, which is to go to a6. Then I could check again, but then they would go to a7. Then I could check again with the bishop, but they could take that with their knight, so that is probably not it. But I want to follow that out one more time, because I'm pretty sure they can't go forward because of my rook, they can't take the knight because of the pawn, they can't go to the c-file because of the pawn, and they can't go forward because of the rook or to these other squares because of their own pieces. So yeah, they would have to go to a6. Okay, then if I say check again with the knight, then they can take my rook. So I don't want to check again with the knight. I would have to, my only check at that point, safe check, would be to check with the rook, which forces them to a7. Okay, well, I've spent too much time on this. I can't see the answer. I have no idea what it is. And I can't see anything better than checking with the rook. I just don't know what to do after they move to a7. So I'm going to check here. And now it has to be this, right? And if they move forward, then I take the knight. Because again, I could check them with the knight, but that leaves my rook undefended, right? If I check them right... Wait, no, if I check them right now, the knight is also defending the rook and checking the king. And, oh, is that checkmate? Oh my, I spent all that time. My goodness, I think that's checkmate. Okay, well, that's why my rapid rating is as low as it is because I have opponents who can see checkmate in multiple moves. I could not see checkmate in two. I thought for some reason that if I took that pawn, it would check them, but then they would take my rook. Next puzzle. In this one, I'm playing with the black pieces, so I'm down in exchange. I have a bishop, whereas they have a rook. I have an extra pawn also, and one of them is a passed pawn here in the middle. Well, I can check them in a couple of different ways. I can check them with my rook on d2. I can check them with my rook on h3. If I check them with my rook on h3, they can just go back to where they just were, or maybe even hide behind that rook over there. So it makes me think I ought to leave my rook on the second rank because it's trapped their king up here. If I check down here, which is protected by the bishop on d2, so they can't take it, can't go there and there because of the rook, can't go here because of the bishop, or any of these squares because of my king, so they would have to step over one to e3, and then I don't have a safe follow-up check. But those aren't all my checks because I have this pawn. What if I check with this pawn? All the other squares that I just mentioned are still covered for the same reasons, and that would force them, I think, to e3, just as we had before. And then I can check with the bishop on d2, and I think they have to go one further, and then I'll take their rook for the bishop, and I assume they would take back, and then we would be even, except I would be up a passed pawn, which is now advanced a little bit. I don't know. There's a lot happening, but yeah, that's all I see. That's the only thing that I see where I can win any material. I don't see a way to checkmate, but I also didn't see a way to checkmate in the previous puzzle. So maybe I'm missing something. Maybe this is checkmate, but it's not because nothing's covering that square. Okay, so if I check there first and they move over and then I bring the rook, then again, they have choices to get to the second rank. I think at that point, yeah, it would be better to check with the bishop. Okay, I'm going to try checking on e4. Okay, now that makes sense, right? They can't take it because the rook's protecting it. Oh, wait, no, is that mate? That might be checkmate. I thought I was going to win the rook, but again, I have a mate in two because, again, my rook is still cutting off all of this. My pawn is now guarding two of these squares. My king is still hitting here, and my bishop would be slicing through that diagonal. I think that's checkmate. Oh, my. Yeah, that's two mates in twos that I didn't see. And in both of them, I thought at best I could win a piece. In this one, it was actually an exchange, not a piece. But see, if they had been mate in two puzzles, if I had selected the category checkmate in two, then I wouldn't have even considered taking the rook, or in the other one taking the knight. I would have been looking for a checkmate, and I possibly would have found it much faster. Okay, well, I still have time left. Let's keep going and see what we get. Okay, we have another one that's fairly close to the opening, except here we're each missing a knight, and we're each missing a pawn. Both of us missing our e-pawns. Okay, do I have any forks? Pins, skewers. My bishop isn't really skewering that because it's defended and the knight's defended. I guess I can attack their queen by putting my knight over on c5, but then it has a bunch of places that it could safely move to, like right back where it was. Oh no, it wouldn't want to do that because of my rook back here. Okay, that's probably why it moved over, is because I had just moved my rook over, I'm guessing. I can also take this pawn, but doesn't look like that would do any good. I can take the knight. Wait, let me think about this. If I take the knight and the queen captures, that bishop's not defended. Maybe that's the tactical motif of this puzzle, is that their queen is defending two pieces right now, and they can't keep both of them. But my rook's not pointed at the bishop yet because my knight's in the way. So if I attack the queen first, where does it go? Can it keep defending both the bishop and the knight? The only place that it can keep defending both of those pieces is to drop back one, and then I can take the knight. And if they take back, then I get the bishop. I would just go up a piece. That seems pretty highbrow to me. I don't know. I'm going to try it. Oh, it was. Oh, there was another square besides d2 where they could defend both of them. Okay, well, I'm gonna take the knight now because my knight's defended. So when the queen gets up here, I won't be worried about that. But then I get the bishop, I think. And I'm surprised I found it, but I'm pretty sure that's the answer. Oh my. Well, I'm proud of myself for finding that one. It wasn't a checkmate, so I didn't keep missing it like the previous two puzzles. Usually checkmates are my strong suit, and these kind of things are my weak points, but I'm seeing them today, so that's good, I guess. Next. All right, here again, it looks like we're even on material, except this time they have both bishops and I have both knights, but otherwise we seem even on material. This time we both have all our pawns. One of their pawns has just attacked my knight, so it makes me want to move it. I mean, in a game, I would probably put it down here, but then that blocks in my light squared bishop, or take the bishop. I mean, that's also something I might do in a game here. If I take the bishop, they're going to take back, and then I don't really have anything, but then they don't have the bishop pair, right? So maybe that's good. I have other safe places to put it, but that doesn't accomplish anything. So I'm pretty sure that's not the answer here. Let's see if I have any checks. Okay, both of those are checks. In one case, I would just lose the knight for nothing. And in the other case, I would lose the knight for the bishop, right? On e2, it would just be a trade. And on f3, I would just give away a piece. And then do I have any other checks? No, I don't think I do. Any other captures? I mean, I guess I could capture their e-pawn. And there have been times where Stockfish has said, yeah, you definitely need to give away the knight for a pawn. And I follow that line out for like 10 moves, and I don't know why it's good. But that's happened in some of my game analyses in the past. Don't know that it's ever happened in a puzzle. See, what else can I threaten anything? I guess I could threaten the knight, but then I lose my knight with their pawn. And then this over here would be an even trade, so not good. And I keep coming back to that knight because it's in kind of an odd place, isn't it? I know there are a few times when Stockfish will say to put the knight on the edge there, but that one's weird and it's tempting me. Again, after I take the bishop, because I don't want to lose my knight first. So I take the bishop, they take back, and I threaten the knight with this bishop, and I just realized it doesn't have anywhere to go. My pawn's guarding that square, I have a pawn guarding this square, and their own pawns are in the way of their other squares. So they're going to lose that knight. I just can't do it now because my knight is also in danger. Okay, I mean, I'm going to take the bishop. So is that it? Moving my bishop up to c7? Did I say c7? I meant d7. If I put my bishop on d7, they can't move that knight anywhere safe, but they can defend it. Okay. Wow, then why was this right? Okay. Well, I'm back to square one then, if it's not that. I mean, it still might be that. I don't know. But I realized as I was drawing arrows and stuff, they can defend the knight with the pawn, with their b pawn. Then I could take it, and they would have doubled pawns out there on the flank, which may be good for me long run, but that's probably not the answer to a puzzle. It's usually not, oh, you doubled their pawns. Oh, I can attack it immediately with my b pawn. Is that it? Because it doesn't matter if they protect it and then I get it for a pawn. Maybe, okay, let's see. They still don't have anywhere to go. All of those squares are bad. Okay, maybe it's b5? Maybe? Okay, I should take it, right? I'm gonna take it. Okay, yeah, I don't know why that last move was in there. That one seemed pretty obvious, but that was the hard one to find. And that's the reason that I had such a hard time deciding to take the bishop, is because I didn't know what to do afterwards. It took me a long time to realize the knight had nowhere to go, and then it took me a while to realize that the bishop was the poorer way to attack it. I'm curious as to how bad it would have, if that's what they would have done had I attacked with the bishop. Let's go to the analysis board, and after I take their knight and they take back, let's see what it says. Okay. Yeah, it says that they would play b3 to defend the knight, and then I wouldn't take it, but I would still have a slight edge if I played bishop to d7. But they would have an only move, but then I do not have an only move. It is okay to take the knight, but now it's not 0.6 anymore, it's only 0.4. My slightly better move would be to move the queen over to e8, and it says if I did that, which I guess aims to win the pawn too, if I did that, they would play f4. I would take it, and they would get their bishop out. Okay, I think I understand. I'm glad I noticed at the end that they could just defend the knight. So yeah, playing b5 was definitely better. Was it actually their move to give it up? It was their best move to give it up. Okay, well, that's what they did, and of course I have an only move here. Got it. Still wish I could see those a little bit more quickly, but let's see. Do I have time? Oh, if the next one doesn't take very long, I have time for another one. Black to move. Okay, well, I have a rook and a bishop. I'm actually ahead on material in this one. They have an advanced pawn. It's only 2 squares from promotion. I do have this check with the rook, guarded by the bishop who's shooting through here. They would only have 1 legal move. And then I could check with the pawn, but then that would undefend the bishop, right? If I checked with the pawn, then they could take the bishop. So that's not good. Do I have anything else after this check and they get out of check? I could check again, but then they could go back to where they are. Then I could check here, but that doesn't help anything. Should I just advance the pawn first? Let's see, can they check me? They can check me. If I just advance the pawn, they can check me. Oh, but if I advance the pawn, then my bishop would be guarding that square. Very nice. Okay, well, let's say I advance the pawn, and they don't check me, and they advance their pawn. Then when I put my rook down there, it's checkmate. Oh, maybe that's it. Oh, that would be kind of sad if I missed the last puzzle on this little string, but I'm going to play that. And oh, that was it. And I got it just in time to be done. But was I right that my next move would be checkmate? I mean, I'm sure they have some out, right? Let's see. After my opponent ran over there, it's mate in 4. If I play d3 now. Oh, and it says that they will check me. And I won't take it with the bishop. Really, I would just move out of check. I would just move out of check. And then it says they would check me again and I would take it. That's the only way they have to slow down mate right now. But if they just move this pawn, which is what I was thinking, okay, yeah, that is mate because my pawn is now guarding that other square. So yeah, they would basically have to start checking me. And I wouldn't want to take here because I want my bishop over there for checkmating. If I did take with the bishop, which was my first instinct, does that ruin my mating sequence? Oh, it sets it back a few moves. And they're going to push this pawn. Well, it says they're not, but what if they push the pawn again? Oh, that lets me bring the bishop back, and then I have mate here no matter what they do. It says that if they didn't push the pawn, they would play king to d2, which is there, and then I would just start taking pawns, I guess, distancing myself from the king. Okay, I understand it. Wow, I was actually worried I was going to get that wrong. Thank you for spending your time here. Feel like I had a pretty good session today, and I'll see you next time.